So Fujifilm has recently released an interesting firmware update that I think requires further explanation. I got you covered. Hi everyone and welcome to Pal to Tech. On July 22nd, Fujifilm released a new firmware update for the following cameras: the X-T5, the X-T50, the XS20, the X100VI, the XM5, the X-Half, and the GFX 100 RF. This update adds the same features, the same changes for all of these cameras. Basically, it is a complete overhaul to the camera's wireless communication and security. I also have workarounds for a couple of issues in case you run into any trouble. So right now, let's talk about what the firmware update is going to do to your camera. First, and most importantly, once you install the firmware, you will no longer be able to use the older Fujifilm camera remote app. Yeah, that smooth, lovely bundle of software joy. Back from Home Depot, where I had to buy not one, but 2 cans of wall spackle to fix the holes in my studio wall where I was beating my head against in trying to get this app to work. So from now on, you must use the Fujifilm X app version 2.0 and later. I have an entire video that goes over in quite a bit of detail how to use the X app, and I will link to that video in the description down below. The second change that you're going to see is that the wireless communication options have been removed from a number of your menus. In your button dial settings section, it's been removed from the function setting, as well as the power zoom lens function setting. Basically, you know the buttons that you can customize on the camera by holding down the DISP back button? You're no longer going to have the option to assign wireless communication to one of your custom buttons on the camera. And here's the third change. You know that Instax printer connection setting option that was located in the network USB settings section? You know what I'm talking about, that setting that no one ever used. From now on, you're going to have to connect to your specific Instax printer app on your device in order to print. In addition, the Instax connection options are also going to be removed from the playback menu. And this menu right here is no longer going to have that Instax printer print option that's dimmed out anyway. The bottom line, with all these connection menu item removals, you're no longer going to have the ability to assign wireless tasks to your camera's function buttons or dials. Oh, and one other thing that affects this menu only. If you had your connection mode set to USB tether shooting fixed right before you applied the firmware update, this menu will revert to the camera's default setting for the connection mode. Now, if you had it on fixed before, then you should probably just check it after the firmware update to make sure it's on the option that you need. The final overall change that the firmware update is going to do to your camera is a slightly different way to complete the connection between your camera and the device you're using. After the firmware update, when you begin to pair a new camera to the app, you're now going to see a unique code on your device, which you'll make sure is the same as the one on the camera. Assuming that they are, you've completed a secure connection and you're good to go. So the first issue that I want to tell you, it's not really a bug, but it's definitely something I can see people getting confused with. I know I did. Okay, so have a look at this. When you are pairing your camera to your device and you're at the pairing screen, you're all ready to go. And up pops the little notification with that security code, which you visually match to what you see on the camera. So far, so good. So you go ahead and tap pair right here, and the device kind of just sits there spinning, and boom, you get pairing is canceled. If this happened to you, here's how to fix it and why it happened. Let's go back to the point at which you had the pairing request. There's the code, it matches what's on the camera. So I don't know about you, but whenever something pops up, I generally gravitate my attention toward it. So on the device, this pop-up window asking me to tap pair, I think most people will tap pair. That'll be the first thing they do. Here's the problem and the source of confusion. Once you tap pair and that window goes away, what you need to do immediately afterward is press the menu OK button on your camera. And you should do it fairly quickly after you have tapped the pair button. And as soon as you tap the menu OK button, and boom, it connects perfectly. In other words, you need to tap a button on your device and a button on your camera to make it work. And here's why I think some people are going to get confused by this. when you first go and you tap the pair button and that little pop-up window disappears. When I look at my device, I'm seeing a spinning little icon, which tells me that it's doing something. It's trying to connect. It's working. And then when I look at my camera, it shows that numerical code that I confirmed already. And it says, please confirm that this code is displayed on your smartphone. And in my mind, I think, I already did that, right? I looked at it, it's fine, it's confirmed. I just didn't draw the connection that I had to do that extra step. And I actually think, Fujifilm, it would be very helpful. Instead of the word continue, which tells me, okay, move on, let's start using the app, it would say after the little okay icon, confirm now, or something like that. Now, I may be the only person on planet Earth that got confused by this, probably. So take that for what it's worth. But if this happens to you, if you get that error message and you cannot connect, make sure that you have tapped the OK button on your camera and you have tapped the pair button on your device. It doesn't matter what order you do it, but you need to have done both of them relatively quickly together. So the second issue has to do with removing a camera that had previously been paired with your Fujifilm X app. When you go into the settings of the camera that you want to remove, you scroll down to the bottom and you tap on Unregister the camera. You would think that that would just remove it right out of the app. Nope, it doesn't. You get this menu right here. And here's where the confusion comes. This is for iPhone users, and it says that it is necessary to delete the camera in the settings of the OS operating system. So it's telling me I need to delete the device with the name of XT5, and I need to do that on the phone. So I tap Open Settings. And when I do, it incorrectly drops me right into the detailed settings of the X app device. The problem is you cannot delete it from here. So what you need to do is go back to the main section of your iPhone menu and tap on Bluetooth and have a look at this right here. And not only that, but you need to tap on the little blue eye icon, the little information icon. Once you do that, you get the option, forget this device. Tap on that, confirm it, then go back to the Fuji X app and you can check the little box I've deleted, which then allows you to delete the registration. And that is how you remove a camera from your X app. Another tip for you, if you've been connecting to the app, but maybe you're not using it for a while or you don't plan on using it for a while, make sure that you press on the DISP back button on your camera and hold it down until you get to this menu right here. Go ahead and choose Bluetooth and just turn it off because it does add a drain to your battery and there's no point in having Bluetooth on if you're not using the app. And the final tip I have for you is that if you're running into error messages or problems or little weird red flashy globe icon things and just whatever's getting in the way of connecting your app to your camera, when all else fails, I strongly recommend going into your network USB setting menu and just go down to Reset Wireless Setting. Put it back to the default. Doing that has an amazing ability to solve a lot of connectivity problems with this camera to various devices. Do I recommend that you upgrade your camera to this new firmware? I don't necessarily think you need to jump into it right away. It's not like this firmware update is going to add, improved autofocus or allow the camera to collapse in on itself and fly you to the moon. It's not going to do that. It's basically improving security, which is a good thing, of course, and it's going to improve speed. I would wait a couple more weeks, see if there's any reported bugs. In fact, there has been another firmware update that's been released for the XT5, the XT50, and the XS20 that addresses bugs from the update today that we talked about. However, I got to tell you that after I did the firmware update and I went in and I was playing around with the app, I noticed that it performs much better than it did before. For example, there's less latency. You see that right here. The response time in the way the app communicates to the camera is noticeably faster. If you're using the app a lot, then yes, I think you should get the firmware update. But if you don't use the app very much, or if you don't use it at all, then I think you can sit this one out for a little while longer. And remember this, because a number of you have asked me, if you update to the most recent Fujifilm firmware update for your camera, you're going to get everything since the beginning of time when they made firmware updates for your camera, all the way up to today. Whatever method that you choose, make sure that you are using a fully charged battery. Before I go, I want to say a special thank you to our Backstage and channel subscription members. If you've not yet heard of PALDETECH Backstage, go check it out. I'll have a link down below. Well, anyhow, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you found the video helpful, or at least entertaining. And if you did, be sure to give it the like and subscribe. I am going to be signing off now, but have a wonderful weekend, and I'll see you in a new video next week. Take care.